Guys, it's Nick. I'm here on 34th Street in Manhattan in front of Macy's, and look at all these people around here. Do you think they have any gold or silver put away for when the grid goes down and there's no electricity and we have to barter for our eggs? Probably not. I can't wait until the grid goes down and there's no electricity and the trucks can't get to the supermarkets and everybody is starving except for me. Why? Because I saved some silver Eisenhower dimes and some silver Washington quarters, and I even put away a few of those pieces of plastic that have some gold foil on it and a nice design that when this grid goes down, I'm going to be handing those to the farmer and he's going to give me chickens and eggs, and the woman is going to go back to churning butter by hand, and I may even buy one of those suits of the people you see in like Colonial Williamsburg, LARPing, doing that live action role play like it was the 1700s all again, and we're just going to go back to colonial times and hand these foil notes or one Eisenhower dime for a box of eggs or a pound of chicken or something like that. And you know what else is great? Everybody around me, all of these people, they're just gonna stand by and watch as I get the eggs, get the butter, get the milk, get the meat, go back to my house that has a whole bunch of logs set aside to keep my house warm, and my generator that I'm gonna be running to keep my refrigerator going and my lights on, and I'm gonna be cooking all these meals, and all of these people are just gonna stand around, especially with their little kids, as they starve and freeze in their house that has no heat because there's no electricity. And when their little daughter asks them, "Daddy, why are we starving and freezing while the man next door has heat and food and all this stuff?" He's just gonna say, "Well, honey, you know, he stacked some silver dimes and silver quarters and some foil notes and stuff like that. So we're just gonna have to stand aside and freeze and starve while we watch him, you know, live the good life while everybody else dies," right? It seems like a lot of people in my comments think that that is going to be the future, that one day there's going to be this so-called utopia where everything goes to crap and they're going to be the ones surviving and living high on the hog. And all of these millions of people are just going to stand around and let themselves and their families and young kids just starve while the people with a few pieces of silver and gold, you know, get to live like everything's normal. And Bill Gates and Warren Buffett are going to be standing on the breadline, and you're going to be the new king because silver's going to go to, you know, $200, $500 an ounce. And you're going to have all the food you need because you could trade it to the farmers for silver, but everybody else starves. This is complete fantasy and will never happen. Within a few days or a week or two of grid down, no electricity, no pumps for fuel to fuel trucks to deliver goods to supermarkets who can't refrigerate food and all this stuff, it will be absolute chaos. And these people that are standing around, they're not going to stand around and watch you live the good life because you prepared ahead. You got firewood, you got generators, you got fuel, you got chickens in your yard and stuff like that. In 2 weeks, probably even less, the whole country goes into chaos, and they're going to look for the first person whose lights are on or who has smoke coming out of their chimney or something like that, and they're going to ransack your whole place and take everything you have. Unless you live somewhere in the middle of nowhere and you spend your whole day tending to your chickens and cutting wood and doing 8 hours of work just to survive during the day, that's a lot of work. And so maybe you'll survive, but the people that live in New York City or the suburbs or any semi-suburb area, it's not going to be utopia for you when your neighbors are starving. It'll probably be your neighbors that ransack your house or home invade your house to steal what you have. And so if you look in situations like this when a city kind of collapsed There are examples like the Siege of Leningrad, which is St. Petersburg now, during 1941 to 1944. 1.5 million people starved because they were being sieged by Germany. And so it got to the point where they were actually eating the bodies of people that passed from starvation and things like that. No amount of silver or gold foil notes can buy you something when it is not available. More recently, the Siege of Sarajevo, 1992 to 1996. The things that were useful were things like wood, cooking stoves, cooking oil, matches, candles, canned fruit, canned beans, toilet paper, very important, worth more than gold. And the only bullion that they cared about was not gold or silver bullion, but was the bouillon cubes to make soup. That was worth more than gold bullion. Similar thing happened in the collapse in Argentina in 2001. And if you read some accounts of things that happened, one of the things that I read was it wasn't the kind of criminal element that you had to worry about. It was the guy that went to work every day in a suit at some accounting office or something like that, that now could not feed his little kids. And those are the most desperate ones, and those are the ones that were going out to rob or steal anything they can to feed their small children. So really, when I see these comments to say that don't buy 1 ounce of gold because how are you going to break that when you need to barter for a dozen eggs or something like that when the grid goes down, if that happens, the gold is not even going to matter. And so 2 of those situations were army sieges. You have a lot of warning ahead of time if an army is going to siege your city or our country or something like that. There are still 200 or so other countries that are not going through those problems. So your best bet is to have some money, maybe in a foreign bank account, or have some gold or silver that you can cash in to buy a plane ticket to get the hell out of Dodge if you think that something like that is coming your way. So I'm not saying don't buy gold or silver as an investment or as an insurance policy against the dollar. Definitely do that, but don't fall into this fantasy of LARPing that it's going to be the end of the world and you're going to be the last one standing with all the spoils because you saved up some silver or gold notes or some 25-year dehydrated food that lasts for 25 years. There's no way that you will last 25 years in some scenario like that. If you have enough supplies to get you through 1 month of food and heat, that will be enough because everybody else will either be dead or they will already have ransacked what you have. So the guys that are trying to scare you to sell you these packaged foods or survival items or the gold foil is going to be the new trading currency with all the states is going to be legal tender and all this stuff when we go back to living like the colonialists in the 1700s because we have no electricity and everybody's riding horses and churning butter by hand and all of this stuff. That's really fantasy. Stick to the basics. Spend less than you make. Save your money. Get out of debt. Don't pay credit card interest. Buy stocks, silver, gold, real estate. Diversify and just live your life and don't fall for the fear and don't believe that a grid down or shit hits the fan is going to be utopia for you or anybody else. It will be disaster for everybody. To give you an idea of how the grid going down and the crap hits the fan and everybody's starving and no electricity and no food and no heat in their homes, here's a look at Philly football fans after they won the Super Bowl. This is them when they're happy with full stomachs and electricity in their house and internet and heat. Now just imagine when they are hungry and cold and no electricity and no refrigerator. What they're doing to this traffic light, they're gonna do to you when they see you have a bag of silver or some eggs or some meat or some chicken
or heat in your house or anything like that.
I hope you like this one, guys. Thanks for watching.